Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty cool tool that might just change how you think about databases in your Python projects, especially when you're just getting started.
Okay, so picture this. You've just built a fantastic Python app. The code is clean, it's working, but now you hit that classic fork in the road. You gotta store data. And let me tell you, this choice can seriously dial up the complexity of your project.
You know, the traditional route, what you might call the heavyweight path, usually means setting up a whole external database server. We're talking something like MongoDB Atlas. Suddenly, you're juggling connection URIs, a bunch of environment variables, cloud configs. It's powerful for sure, but man, it can be a real headache. And that's the dilemma every developer faces, right? You want that modern, flexible database power, but you just don't want the operational nightmare that comes with it, especially when you're just trying to build a quick prototype or a smaller app. So, what if there was a better way? Well, this is where a really clever tool comes into the picture. Let's talk about NeoSQLite. The whole idea here is just brilliant. It gives you the feel of working with MongoDB, using that familiar PyMongo API that so many of us already know, but, and this is the kicker, it's all running on a simple, serverless, single-file SQLite database. You're basically getting the best of both worlds. And you're not sacrificing features either. You get a flexible schemaless document store, you get powerful indexing, you even get full-text search and GridFS for storing files. The amazing part is that all of this comes without ever needing to run a separate database server. Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually hold up in the real world? Let's check out a perfect case study, a blogging app called Medium Bloggy that made the switch from MongoDB to NeoSQLite. So the original app had a very standard, production-style setup. It was connecting to a MongoDB cluster up in the cloud on Atlas. That meant managing all the credentials and configs just to get the app talking to its remote database. And boom, this right here shows you just how simple the switch is. Look at the left, that's the old way with the Mongo URI and DB name. Now look at the right. With NeoSQLite, it's just one line, DB path, that points to a local file. That's literally it. All that complexity just disappears. The magic doesn't stop there. It goes right into the main application code. The only real change needed was to swap out PyMongo's MongoDB client for NeoSQLite's connection object. Everything else, all the database queries, the updates, the whole shebang, it all stayed pretty much the same because the API is designed to be a perfect mirror of PyMongo. And you don't have to take my word for it. This quote from the project's own README file says it all, doesn't it? The migration totally worked. All the app's features, user logins, blog posts, comments, even search just kept on working, no problem. Now, this is absolutely crucial. When you choose NeoSQLite for development, you're not locking yourself into a corner. Because the API is so compatible, if your app blows up and you actually need the massive scale of a full MongoDB cluster, you can switch back just as easily. It's a low-risk, high-reward move. All right, so we've seen how easy it is to make the change, but what are the real, tangible payoffs here? What do you actually get from a migration like this? Well, first and foremost, the big number is 0. That is how many external database servers you have to install, configure, manage, or pay for. Your database is now just a file living happily right next to your code. This makes life so much easier for anyone who wants to run your project. You can forget about writing pages of instructions on setting up a database. Now it's just clone the repo, install the dependencies, and run the app. The database just works. So to wrap up the benefits, and the Medium Bloggy project really proves this, you get that sweet developer-friendly API from the MongoDB world, but with zero configuration, faster local operations since there's no network lag, and all the powerful features you need, all built on top of rock-solid SQLite. So let's zoom out. What's the big picture here? How should you think about using a tool like this in your own projects? Here's a really simple way to look at it. Think of NeoSQLite as your secret weapon for development, for prototyping, for testing, and for building small to medium apps where you just want to move fast and keep things simple. MongoDB is still the undisputed champ for those massive production systems that need to scale out across tons of servers. Yeah, this isn't some kind of competition. It's all about having the right tool for the right stage of your project's life. NeoSQLite is designed to get rid of the friction to let you build faster when the full complexity of a distributed database is just plain overkill. And that's really the final thought I want to leave you with. By making a smart, strategic choice about your database early on, you can wipe out a huge source of complexity. And that frees you up to focus your energy on what you actually love doing, building an awesome application. So, could your next project be that simple?